Hi, everyone. Thank you for spending time with us today. Thank you for investing in your next level of leadership effectiveness. Listening today are individual leaders, coaches, heads of consultancies, and members of teams who are using this tool for development. Welcome to each of you from all corners of the globe. My name is Sandy Swider from the Leadership Circle. Today, I sit in my home office, which is at the northwest edge of Philadelphia. It's a little place called Flourtown, Pennsylvania. Like the baking flour, not the blooming flower. Cute, but not as cute. But I love it here. I serve on a team dedicated to supporting, encouraging, connecting, and serving as thought partners for our certified practitioners. We also get to spread the message of the power of our platform. I was certified in the Leadership Circle profile back in 2016. And when I walked into that certification room in Princeton, New Jersey, I just felt myself come more alive. I entered a community of heart-centered leaders who had a framework that could get the attention of business leaders. It's pretty unique. I fell in love with these people, this model, and these instruments, which can be part of making the world a better place. So I am thrilled that you are here. And I know that our company founders, Bob Anderson and Bill Adams, are thrilled that you are here as well. And this is why. So I'm going to flip over to a deck, hopefully. Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here we are. Let's talk about our purpose. We exist. We exist to evolve the conscious practice of leadership, to steward the planet, and to awaken us all to our inherent unity. We're committed to doing our part to make the world better and better. We do that by helping leaders develop beyond competency and capability. We're interested in leaders growing in courage, compassion, consciousness, and character, as well as competency and capability. You know, we really are on a mission, and we know that the way to have the biggest possible impact to that end is through scale. So yes, we really, really are thrilled that you are on this call. We are honored to be part of your leadership journey, and we'd be thrilled if you fall a little bit in love today. So here's our agenda. We're going to talk about the universal model of leadership, understand your self-assessment results, your Leadership Circle profile self-assessment results, and then we'll talk about some recommended next steps. So the universal model. If you've read Mastering Leadership or our newest book, which is Scaling Leadership, you're likely to remember this quote. Models help explain how things work. Once a good model gets inside you, it can inform and guide you for a lifetime. In this VUCA world, right, a world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, wise guidance it's essential. And this model is full of wisdom. And the tools that work hand in hand with it, like the Leadership Circle profile, bring this model to life vividly. You've stepped into something that is powerful and something that's evergreen. So if you're serious about your growth, you really can return to this time and time again and keep learning. So ta-da, here is the model. So we're going to dig into this more, and you'll become familiar with it as you spend some time with your assessment results. But that's the picture. Okay, here's what makes this model so powerful. The universal leadership model weaves together threads of the best theory and research from the fields of leadership, organizational development, psychology, success literature, and spiritual traditions, actually. You're likely to see something here that rings a bell for you as you look at the pieces that are the foundation of our circle. So Robert Keegan and Lisa Leahy's work on adult development. Karen Horney's character structure work is up there. Peter Burns, David Block, Maslow, and names not noted here, like Carl Jung, Peter Drucker, Jim Collins. It's also informed by the Enneagram and mystical literature of many traditions. So it is chock full of a variety of insights. It's the best of, really. Bob Anderson's insatiable curiosity about effective leadership and his desire to stand on the shoulders of all the great work he was discovering fed development of this model for over 20 years. This is a model that was field tested with leaders along the way. So that's important to know. It wasn't just theory, it was put into the street, if you will. The introduction of Mastering Leadership actually outlines this model if you'd like to dig in and get a little more detail here. So as we move forward with this, you're going to see the pieces of the puzzle start to come together, but it's not a completely seamless circle. We left them broken apart to indicate that the leadership circle model is really an ongoing process of integration. As we as leaders evolve in the VUCA world, this will evolve. So it is nuanced, it's dynamic, and it's powerful. So there's the model laid on top of all of the pieces, that strong foundation. So our USP, our unique selling proposition. Bob's approach to constructing this model was unique for sure. A best of list that's extraordinarily multidimensional, but there's something else that's extraordinary about this work. The universal leadership model certainly addresses traditional key leadership competencies. So the doing of leadership, right? Things like mentor and developing, collaborator, systems thinker. All of that is in here. But a very special note, this model gives us an opportunity to look deeper within. It addresses our hidden beliefs and assumptions that underlie and drive our behaviors. So by illuminating the underlying thinking patterns that drive behavior, we give access to new choices and possibilities. You might think of this as the being of leadership. So an approach to leadership development that is as unique as each individual. It's truly personalized leadership development. What an opportunity for competitive advantage there. So let's make sure you understand the framework, because this is how your assessment results will come to you. When you look at the model, it is a circle. There's no surprise there. It's intentional, too. It represents a holistic model of leadership and the leadership journey. You're a whole being with your sense of identity at the core. Also of note is that everything in the circle is intentionally placed. There is interrelationship among all the dimensions. As you can see, it includes a top half and a bottom half. The top half is the creative competencies. These are the things that are above this line in the middle. These are strengths leaders activate that inspire, engage, and unleash energy and potential in others and or in the system. They help leaders create what matters most with and through others. And our research shows that these creative competencies are highly correlated to leadership effectiveness and business performance. So down here, or below the line, these are leadership behaviors that tend to get things done. There is strength in here. These are tendencies that help leaders get to where they are. But when these strengths are unconsciously leveraged or overused or used at the wrong time, there is a cost. There's more effort, greater energy loss, and a heavier strain on the leader and the systems and the people around the leader. In a complex environment where leadership effectiveness is essential, the limiting nature of these reactive tendencies can be a liability. The profile can also be divided vertically. So the left-hand side of the circle is all about people orientation, and the right side is all about task. So think of a leader who you know who attends to people and teams first, and you'd say, oh, they are such a people person. Whereas on the other side, there are leaders you can think of who are more focused on accomplishing outcomes, focused on structure, action, and doing. They'd fall more on the task side. The well-balanced leader is one who shows up on both sides. The profile graph is a circle within a circle. So the inner circle provides a high-level summary of the data in the outer circle. Inner circle, outer circle. Each dimension or wedge or pizza slice, whatever language works for you, is a dimension that is comprised of 2 to 5 outer circle creative competencies. So that's above the line. And then the reactive tendencies below the line. So the circle comes in the middle here, and you can see how it fans out. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So when you're looking at the profile graph, it's helpful to study the overall shape of the data in the inner circle first, and then you can dig into the details on the outer circle. So let's start by looking at the dimensions in the creative half, up top, above the line. Playing to win. You might want to think about it that way. These are highlighted in blue. Our research, which is derived from a database of over 150,000 leader participants and well over 1.7 million evaluators or raters, shows that the competencies we will look at now are highly correlated to leadership effectiveness and business results. So more behavior above the line is a good thing. So let's look at what we mean by these creative competencies. And specifically, we're going to look at the relating dimension. We define relating as the leader's capability. There we go. Get that up there. The leader's capability to relate to others in a way that brings out the best in people, groups, and organizations. So over here in relating, as you fan out from the center, you see that relating is comprised of caring connection, fosters team play, collaborator, mentoring and developing, and interpersonal intelligence. A leader scoring high in relating is likely to hold a deep belief that people have unlimited potential and that they are capable and trustworthy. This leader is likely to act as a role model for open communication, to listen and to learn from subordinates, and to build good rapport across the organization. As we move around the circle, so to self-awareness, authenticity, systems awareness, and achieving, the same is true for the architecture. It fans out from the center to the detail. So we've taken a very light touch here in the exploration of each dimension because you'll have as much detail as you like as you review your profile with the accompanying profile interpretation guide. There's a lot of detail there for you. So those are the creative competencies. Now let's take a look at the reactive tendencies or the reactive styles. So below the line, maybe think about this as a playing not to lose posture. When I'm operating from the reactive, I'm using behaviors that may have been rewarded or worked for me in the past, but I may be hitting a wall. I may no longer be getting the results I desire. With that said, it's important to note that these reactive styles or tendencies aren't bad. They served us well for a certain period. They got us where we are. But the question may be, are they serving well in my current leadership context? So let's take a look at protecting as an example here. So there's protecting. Let's see, complying, protecting, and controlling are the three dimensions here, but we're going to look at protecting. There we go. So protecting is comprised, as we see here, of distance, critical, and arrogance. Protecting is the belief that the leader can protect himself or herself and establish a sense of worth through withdrawal, remaining distant, hidden, aloof, cynical, superior, and or rational. When we look at arrogance specifically, arrogant leaders are likely operating from a belief that they must have all the answers and fix everything. An inner voice may play this tape. I know this, and I can do it better than others. I should just be the one who does it. I'll do it myself. At a certain point in a career, in a certain job, at a certain time, this may have worked. But here's the thing. Our research has shown that these reactive leadership behaviors have an inverse correlation to leadership effectiveness. And we're defining leadership as making things that matter happen with and through others. So it's important to understand them better so we can be at choice about deploying them. It can be exciting to get real about our reactive and learn what it might be time to let go of. But it does take courage. The truth is that any point in time, we are either playing above the line or below the line, playing to win or playing not to lose. And there's power in becoming aware of your position. That awareness allows you to be at choice in how you are showing up. So these are the reactive tendencies. When you get your report, you will also see that there are some scales that surround the circle. The scale to the left, above, and to the right are summary dimensions of what is happening inside of the circle. It's the scale at the bottom that I want to point to right now for a couple of minutes. This measures your perceived level of overall effectiveness as a leader. It's a way of answering the question, so in the end, how am I doing? So leadership effectiveness scale. To get to the leadership effectiveness score, you answered 5 specific questions that are a survey within a survey. So this data, these questions that you see here, are separate from that which is offered in the circle, but it does validate it. What's interesting and meaningful to you as a leader. This graph shows the correlation across the leadership effectiveness scale and creative competencies. So that upper half of the circle, the above the line. The correlation value is 0.93, almost perfect, which does not happen normally in life. A 0.6 correlation is strong, but this is a 0.93. So when it comes to these 5 questions here, knowing where you sit at any time, at this time in your leadership, is important. On this graph, the reactive tendencies and the correlation shows. Notice the negative correlation of minus 0.68. Here, the lower the correlation, the lower the leadership effectiveness. So this is the below the line. So intentionally moving more into the creative above the line is not only a more generative way of doing life, but the impact on leadership effectiveness is undeniable. Our research also addresses the correlation between leadership effectiveness and business results, which we don't have time for today. But if you want to dig into that, There was a fantastic white paper titled The Leadership Circle and Organizational Performance, which is found on our Leadership Circle website. Okay, so here we go. This is where it gets juicy. We start to point all of this toward your own personal leadership journey. The self-assessment reports on your own personal assessment of the current state of your leadership effectiveness. This is your look at you, which is a great place to begin a journey of discovery about how you are showing up as a leader. With completion of the self-assessment, you're offered a link to this page where you can download your graph report, your full profile, and you also have an opportunity to retake the assessment. So you can take it as often as you'd like. I've done it once or twice myself, but know that the results don't tend to change quickly. It generally takes over a year, maybe around 18 months, to grow the edge you're intentionally stretching. So these are your resources. On the left is your profile report. This report shows your raw scores as well as percentiles. So how you scored in each dimension on a scale of 1 to 5. And the ratings go from never to always. It also shows how you compare with that database, which consists of over 150,000 leaders and over 1.7 million raters. That's the percentile score. So for example, if you score in the 50th percentile of systems awareness, half of the group would have scored higher and the other half would have scored lower than you. If you scored in the 80th percentile, 20% scored higher and 80% scored lower. As you look at your results, it's important to realize that the bar for leadership is very high. Leaders' expectations for leadership is high. For example, in integrity, you may score a 4 out of 5, but still receive a low percentile. That's because the standards that leaders are held to these days in highly complex and challenging environments are so high. So as a leader, your ability to deal with that complexity from a more developed mind is essential for all to thrive. Okay, next, the graph report. The graph is the visual representation of the data communicated in the profile report. What we found is that people are very truthful with themselves as they complete their own profile. We've been so impressed with the ability of our participating leaders to give themselves direct feedback from which they can learn and grow. Viewing the graph and getting curious about the score in each dimension will unleash your inner wisdom. Your most important job when you review your graph is to simply sit with it. Make space for your inner wisdom to just bubble up. Next, there is the interpretation guide, which walks you through each dimension and competency and provides definitions and overviews of what each can mean to your leadership. It also has suggestions for growth and change and areas you may want to focus on. It's a solid reference tool for you that you want to come back to again and again. And finally, there is a straightforward individual development plan. It's concise, but it's very powerful as you think about one thing, a shift that could have the biggest impact on your leadership effectiveness. This is a simple plan, and it's grounded in a belief that less is more. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So your report will look like this. Pardon me, I need to take a drink. The black line and the shading shows where you fall with your percentile scores. All right. Often when people get their results, they want to do everything and begin making long lists of what to change immediately. Does this resonate? Are you laughing to yourself? You know, I'm laughing. I know that's my tendency. In fact, we're not alone. Quite frequently, our tendency is to boil the ocean, but that's not what we're after here. Research shows that when you focus on one big thing, you will have the greatest leadership impact. And what we know is that when you focus on one creative competency, that you will naturally see a lift in other creative competencies as well. So the invitation is to get curious about what can happen for you and yours as you look above the line. So maybe this could serve as some inspiration if moving somewhere above the line feels like the right kind of move for you right now. So here we've got the upper half of the circle, the above the line. So these two quadrants. The people creative, so over here on the left. Leaders who score strongly in the people creative quadrant focus their people skills on helping others, teams, and themselves grow. They bring out the best in people by connecting them to one another and creating opportunities for them to learn and stretch. They also relate to others with an intention to be of service in their leadership role, rather than seeking to be served. Over here on the task creative. Leaders who score strongly in the task creative quadrant lead with a pull energy, inspiring others with a vision and purpose that brings the best out of others. They see the big picture of the nested systems around them and design these to create optimal outcomes. It is from this quadrant that the most sustainable results are created. Keep your profile interpretation manual handy as you explore these kind of inspiring options. So here are your next steps. Read through your results. Visit YouTube. There's a video there, the Leadership Circle model, which will help you explore this model further. Just raise your awareness level and notice what you are noticing. Ask people you trust for feedback. While this isn't a 360, and I'll talk about that in a minute, you've got some insight here which you can probe a little bit. Ask people you trust to give you some feedback. Consider your one big move. Make sure you download and complete that leadership development plan that I referenced. It will be in your link where your assessment is included. And if you begin to yearn for more insight about your leadership effectiveness after sitting with your self-assessment results, the Leadership Circle profile is the 360, which would collect both quantitative and qualitative feedback. Your self-rating will be there, and you'll also have ratings from a variety of stakeholders like your bosses, your direct reports, your peers, and other stakeholders who are impacted by your leadership. It's a powerful next step. So you can find a full circle profile certified practitioner, or you can look at becoming one. And the details of all of that is on our website. You can also learn a lot more by going to the website. There's a lot of information there, actually, that if you're curious, you can dig in. Mastering Leadership is the first book. It's really the textbook about the Leadership Circle profile and all things the Leadership Circle. And then Scaling Leadership is a great read. It is the writing comments and what leaders say about leaders in their own words. It's very powerful. All right, we want to get social. So please, Circle isn't just included in our company name. It's our model of leadership. It's in the name of our assessments. It's part of the experiential way that we teach in the training room. And it's you, a community of like-minded people. So please connect with us. Additionally, we like to hear your thoughts. We love to hear your thoughts. And we've got a monthly blog aimed at sharing learning and case studies across our practitioner group. So we'd love for you to become a bigger part of our community and contribute. So that is our show for today, and here I am. I thank you for being with us. I thank you for being who you are, being interested in this kind of work. I wish you well. We look forward to more soon. And take care. Bye-bye.